right, we are here with another unboxing, this time of Fallout, the board game. This is, of course, with the Bethesda IP, but it is by Fantasy Flight Games. This is not a new game. It's several years old, but I recently just picked it up on super sale from GameStop because they sometimes carry, merchandise that's themed around the video games, and it was reduced, and then it was all Fallout merchandise the other day at GameStop was 50% off. So it was like, 25% off, and then it was reduced all the way down to under $20. So you can see there is a little bit of damage on the corners, but not super bad. I guess GameStop doesn't consider taking care of board games a priority, but what's inside the counts. So you can see that this is a kind of a modular tile board game. There are some miniatures to paint up here. It is, from what I have heard and read, it does a pretty good job of kind of replicating the RPG, building up a character, things like that, exploring a wasteland type of thing in a board game format. It translates what happens in the video game pretty well. What it looks a lot like to me and seems to play a lot like is Mage Knight, mixed with a little of these, kind of choose your own adventures. I always harken back to like Red Raven games, but a little bit of a narrative, small, easy skill check, and you either pass or fail, and then you move on. But the tile flipping, and then the enemies are all represented by these little chips that give you all the information. The flipping of the tiles as you explore them, and the enemies just being there as little chits is very Mage Knight-esque to me. And Mage Knight is, definitely an explore and build up your character type of game, and it's a solo player classic. So, and from what I have understood, that some of the gripes that people had was that the competitive version of the game, the victory conditions and how you scored points was not always balanced. It was unfair sometimes, and somebody could just not do as much and win the game, or the game could end abruptly and you wouldn't know it. Well, if you're playing solo, then you're only playing against yourself, and you're just trying to score that many points before everybody kills you. So it makes a lot of sense that it could probably be an excellent solo player game. So let's go ahead and dive in here. As we know, most Fantasy Flight games are going to come with a learn to play manual. So this is going to give you all of the basic instructions on how to play the game. You're looking at about 15 pages. Even though it is a competitive game, like you said, you can't play solo. There's just a few tweaks you have to make, but there's a solo setup. Total 16 pages, but that last page is all credits. And then this book is just rules reference. So this is like a almanac. Everything is alphabetical. And so if you have questions on something, I have questions on asset cards, you would look up here, and it gives you more detail on all of the components and things in the game, and gives you a great quick reference on the back to keep that handy. All right, then we've got some cardboard here. I'll open these up here in a second. It looks like we've got some, these are the tiles that you explore. The Nuke Cola, I know, is basically money, probably 1s and 5s and things like that. And then let's see here, this looks like some player boards, probably more tokens, things like that. There's some enemies, so we will open up all of this here in just a second. Lots of cards. So you can see here that this is an example of what the the quests and the activities look like. You're going to choose either one or two. You want to hack into an old register, or you want to search for useful equipment. Looks like hack into an old register, you have to have the I icon or the P or the L. That was basically, you can earn the words or earn the letters that spell out the word special, and that's part of your character upgrade and improvement, is earning the word special, which I believe, I played a little bit of Fallout video game, has some tie-ins there, thematic tie-ins there. But basically, you do a skill check, 3, there's 4. I don't know, maybe these give you bonuses or re-rolls or something like that, but then you succeed or you fail. And that's basically it. So there's lots of these types of cards in here. Then there are the little cards, which Fantasy Flight is famous for. Let's take a look at these. These probably aren't as filled with spoilers as the quest cards are. So these, I believe, are the points. You know, a thumbs up is a point, and this one gives you additional thumbs up if you have advanced a certain icon on a track. So yeah, these are all the different ways to get points. You probably get one of these every time you complete a quest. Then we've got some items. Addict tool, jet item drug, radway, first aid. I'm not going to go through all of these, but then you can see we start getting into companions. Lots of different companions here. And then weapons, the plasma gun, armor, apparel, ooh, a suit, look at that. More companions, lots of stuff, lots and lots and lots of stuff. Events, and then it looks like some trait cards here. You're an armorer, pain train, night person. So these all appear to be toughness. Discard to recover all your HP. So sorry, I keep floating out of the shot here. So you can see these are basically just traits that you're probably going to earn. These are one-time, probably use things. We've got some markers and some unique dice that have the Fallout Boy, and I believe, you know, the painted in area is where you can hit an enemy. And then if we look back on here, you can see that certain enemies, like this guy, can only be hit in the arms, this guy can only be hit in the head and torso, same with this guy. So how you roll the dice depends on where you're going to hit them. And these, I believe, are the scenario cards. So this is going to give you the map setup here, the two factions that are vying against each other, and then this is the kind of the faction track, and these basically give you the variety in the game between the gameplay. Let's take a look at the miniatures here real quick. Again, this is Fantasy Flight, and they always do a superb job on their miniatures. Here is the guy who we are accustomed to seeing on the cover of a lot of Fallout games. I don't know any of these character names, but he's got a mech suit. And there's this guy. He is bald and mean looking. This is kind of a standard wastelander. He's got a rifle gun. I'm guessing that all of these people have slightly atypical powers that make them unique, playable from one to the other. I'm guessing the big armored thing is a tank. She's got a shotgun. And then there's this guy who does not look human. Either that or he's got some nasty scarring, but he basically looks like a skull face. This guy looks like a mutant. But he is a playable hero character. So, one more thing we always got to check. Make sure there is nothing hidden in here. Okay, nope. Nothing hiding in there. All right, so I am going to open this up real quick and come right back. All right, so here is, I I don't know. Ooh, this stuff is already coming out. Okay, so there you have, these are the player boards. I believe you have to piece them together. That was on the first page of the instruction manual. But there you can see special is spelled out. This stuff's all pretty straightforward. Each of the enemies has a faction that they are aligned to. So each round, only certain enemies will activate. This looks like the remainder of the player boards. Yep, so this must be what you attach. Looks like you probably attach this over top of this. So you can see you can fill in the specials, you can slot stuff in here. Pretty straightforward. So lots of player boards. Here we've got lots more tiles and lots more enemies. Got Acadia. There's some of the enemies, the Nucleus, Far Harbor, Sentrybot, Deathclaw, Super Mutant Brute, Raider Psycho, Project Purity, Megaton. Again, I'm not sure if this is based upon there's the back side of the tiles. A certain Fallout, like Fallout 3, Fallout 4. But some of you who are familiar with the video game may be recognizing all these creatures or all these town names, things like that. So there are all some more villains. And then you can see these are the tiles that are red and green. On the back side, they get flipped over and give you a different playthrough every time because they're going to be mixed up. Super Mutant Camp, the Tower. This one looks to be mostly coins and these status symbols. Okay, so here's all the special letters that you probably earn, and then you can use those weapons or pass those tests. Oh, this is upside down. Raider Camp, Hoffman Farm, Red Rocket Station. That does sound familiar. And the Crossroads Camp. And Crossroads Camp again. Super Duper Mart. Highway 74. Ashbury Road. And Vault 84. One thing I do like is that these little cardboard Nuke Cola caps are very realistic looking. They just have a great paint job on them, and they, especially from a distance, if I hold it like right here, you almost can't tell that this is just a piece of cardboard. Even on the inside, it's done up well to look like the inside of a cap. From a distance, this looks like a real distressed bottle cap, which is awesome. So there is Fallout, the board game. Again, this is not a new board game. You can probably find this pretty cheap a lot of places. If you pay attention during the holiday season, places like Amazon might have it on sale. But the biggest reason why I am making this video is, of course, to get everything that you just saw back into this box, neatly organized, because that's my thing, and it pains me to see all this stuff out and everything just sitting in baggies here in the middle. So let's see what we can do about this. Okay, much better. As you can see, I went with my standard bead storage box from Michaels. Again, these run about $4 or $5 when they're full price, but they are either on sale or I have a 40 or 50% off coupon almost every week, every time I walk into Michaels. So we're talking like a $2 to $3 storage solution here. This is holding everything, and just so you can see, the instruction manuals fit nicely right there. But putting them off to the side, I did, for right now, keep the cards in these bags. I'm going to see if I can find a deck box that will fit, but you can see they fit in there nicely. They're not going to roll around or get bent up. If I, for some reason, wanted to sleeve them, that might be an issue, but for right now, all this is fitting nicely and making use of the Fantasy Flight divider, which keeps everything from just kind of rattling around in there, keeps everything nice and tight. So you can see underneath here, keeping it nice and flat, I have my scenario cards also kept in the bag. And then in here, I have pretty much all of the components, including the miniatures and the miniature sized cards. So you can see I did have to pull this out. Normally it's like right there. I thought about pulling it out and completely just trashing it, but it does come in handy. I felt like I needed like one more compartment, but I couldn't obviously get the next size up because it wasn't going to fit. So here are all my Nuke Cola tokens. These are all the special tokens. So these I can just pull out of right in the middle of the game. They don't have to come out or anything like that. These are way markers. These are faction tokens. So these also here at the bottom here, and these will probably make their way to the top, are what you use to track the factions. But other than that, these aren't needed until like halfway through the game. Same with these little guys here. They are just trait tokens that you'll pull out as needed. Everything that's in here you will pull out at the beginning of the game. Your dice, your markers, these ones with the different back on them, you can see they are a letter, a special letter, but they have a picture on the back that corresponds to a character. So like this one goes with this character here. So every character gets a unique starting letter as well as a couple other attributes. So these you're going to need at the beginning. Everything in here you pull out at the beginning of the game. All my enemies are in here. You're basically going to they're going to ask you to pull them out and stack them up anyways by faction. So you're going to need to pull them out anyways, and they all fit in there. The cards you're going to want to pull out and put in different piles. So, and then your miniatures, you pull out the ones you need. But other than that, you can basically pull this out of the box, set it off to the side. You're not dumping out baggies. You're not having to do a super cleanup at the end of the night. It's super clean, real easy to get this to the table. So there's that. Again, this is a bead storage box. I believe the company's name is Bead Landing. I buy these from Michael's, the craft store. Literally less than $5 every time, if not closer to 2 or 3. But I will put a link in the description below for this particular one that fits so nicely in this gap right here. And then last but not least, tucked underneath this larger side, you can see I have my player boards, which I have put together now. So there's 1, 2, 3 player boards, and then I have 2 stacks of tiles. So these are just stacked in there. They're nice and even, so these aren't, they're the same height. And you can just pull these out and close that back up. Throw the box on the floor and you're good to go. So that is it. Ladies and gentlemen, I can put it all back in here for you real quick if you want to see that. Some people don't believe me that it is just as easy. I may trim, something I like to do is trim these tabs if they don't stay folded off to the side, because they can make it tricky to fold this back in again. But other than that, that's about it. Getting that one tab, seeing that wasn't that bad. So there's those. Always want to put this on the bottom so it stays flat. Throw this in there. Throw in some cards. 1, 2 decks of cards, your rules, and your lid. There you go. The lid goes on all the way. It doesn't stick up. The box closes all the way. Everything's in there. It's not going to rattle around. Everything's safe. Your miniatures are safe. Your cards are safe. Your tokens aren't going to get all mixed up. You could literally get this game set up in minutes. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, another successful storage of a Fantasy Flight game with our famous bead storage boxes. So if you have enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. If you like videos like this and want to see more, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks again for watching and have a great day.